Alright, I'm doing these rapid fire. I've done them just three in a row, back to back tonight. The thumbnail and title said lazy and rushed, so you get lazy and rushed. 'Cause it's 10:26 p.m. and I'm tired, and I just want this information to be out there in like any sort of capacity at all. So let's get right into it. Uh, I'm going off of the assumption that Uh, if you're watching this, you watched the previous few rushed guides that I put up, but if you haven't, I will try to include all of the context. Um, I am very tired though, so no promises. So this particular video is pertaining to the last one was adding a gun to an avatar that's like completely fresh and new, no FX layer, no gesture layer, no menus, no nothing. Um, However, most people who are working on avatars aren't exactly in that state with their avatars. A lot of people have their own FX layers for toggles and what have you. So here I have Gary Graykit. His FX layer, I have removed everything except for a couple basic toggles, being like, oh, this is using the wrong animation, one sec. Being like the night vision and the HUD toggle. Even though I actually realized I forgot to put those things on here, but it doesn't matter, they're irrelevant for this tutorial. What matters is that we have an existing FX layer here. By the way, I know the UI looks different. I'm using rats. You can get it in the creator companion. I will scrounge up a link for that and put it in there later. Same with the hierarchy I have here that lets you have a lot of quick controls. It's cool. Right, so uh, ignoring all the stuff that I forgot to set up correctly, this is just I want to take one of my existing avatars, transfer over all of the weapons and systems and all that good jazz from that avatar to this avatar. Think of it like a model swap, but the avatars will have mismatching rigs, so I can't just replace and keep overrides like I did in that one tutorial. And it also already has its own FX layer and stuff set up, which I think I forgot to clear the gesture layer. Uh, Piss. Okay, well, whatever. The main thing that matters is the FX layer. The gesture layer is going to be basically the same process, or you can just straight up steal the gesture layer from the other ones, unless like you've already set up something in your gesture layer. Um, the FX layer is the priority though, so it's what I'm going to focus on. Um, and whenever I do a higher effort, better tutorial, I will go over this in a more organized fashion. Um, so essentially I want to move over the systems while keeping the FX layer of this avatar intact, um, and including all of the parameters and systems and everything without overriding it. Uh, so, um, Let me quickly find an avatar that would be good for this. That's I know is public. UR uses the same rig. I can't do those guys. Let's say I want to take Gary Gray kit here and give him the guns from the Stormwalker Marine, which was recently made a public package. So, like the armory post weapon, you can just drag the scene in and have multiple loaded at once, and you can just copy and paste, Control C. You can also right click, but I recommend learning keybinds. Control C, Control V, right click, remove scene. If it prompts you to save, generally you shouldn't. Um, Especially if you accidentally moved it from the original scene, because then you're gonna have to move it back, and if you delete it from here, it's gone forever. Asterisk. You can re-import the Unity package and stuff, but that might not work perfectly. Um, so here we have the Stormwalker Marine, or the Stormwalker Grunt, and I want to take the guns on this guy and put it on Gary Gray kit, but I do not want to interfere with Gary Gray kit's menus and stuff that have already been set up. But let me remove the settings menu too, just so it's, there we are. Um, so first and foremost, I'm going to just grab all of the prefabs, you can click and then shift click down the list to select all of them. Just move them up to the avatar object, just right under the base one, like that, like so. Their positioning will be messed up, but we will get to fixing that. Because if you see here, if I move John Stormwalker around, the weapons follow like him and not the avatar, even though they are on the new avatar that I'm trying to set up here. This is because that the constraint components are still assigned to the Storm Marine. So, like I showed in the last one, if you click the source transform, it will highlight it in the list here, and the first priority is just going to be moving all of this over to Gary Graykit. Because we're merging the FX layers, I'm going to be doing that last instead of last time where I did it first. Let me unexpand some of this list. It's a little premature. As you can see, I forgot to set up a lot of things. So, so it's going to be like rifle holster. We're going to want to move that to, I don't know, his chest, so it's on his back. The list is making this really confusing, I'm sorry. And then the melee we're going to do on the hips, and then move it into a pouch or something. And then I think the flashlight on this particular instance is a leftover, but if you're using an avatar that has a flashlight instead of night vision, you're also going to want to bring that over. And then we're going to want to go under the left arm, grab all of this, go under Gary's left arm, left shoulder, left arm, left elbow, left wrist. If they aren't expanded, you could expand them out with the arrows, and then move it all under left wrist. And then do the same. Right shoulder, right arm, right elbow, right wrist. Select everything. Move it up under the right wrist. And then I guess also considering I'm doing the HUD and screen effects, I can show those, but that's just setting it to the head bone. So everything here is more or less set up. We can disable him for now. And we are just going to quickly reposition everything to make sure it's nice and tidy and fits on the avatar. And then we're going to want to go in and turn up the weight slider for the equip and turn down the weight slider for the holster till it's 0 and 1 respectively. So it moves to the source of the equip. And we're going to want to go in. Oh, I want to go in, move the equip. Just put it right here, and then you're going to want to do the same for the pistol. You're going to want to grab the pistol equip, and you can, if you want to get it more centered, because like the pistol here is floating out in the goddamn void, it is in the middle of nowhere, you can right click the transform and hit reset, and it will perfectly center it on the base of the wrist, but it might mess up the rotation here, so you're going to have to re-rotate it, readjust it. You can just eyeball it, though what I really recommend is like grabbing the gesture layer and like looking at the animation for grabbing it. Of course, this is only if you've already like pulled over the gesture animation, so it's again, it's not a huge concern in this tutorial, but like I recommend using the animations for like grabbing the pistol as reference for where it should be placed in the hand. Otherwise, if you're just eyeballing it, just like a little behind the thumb, trigger in line of the index finger, maybe a little higher, like that, and just general good spot. Move it back to its holster position, and then do the same with the knife, blah blah blah, yada yada. It's like, you probably get the point by now. I hope you get the point. Good practice with knives, by the way, and just melee weapons in general. Don't angle it like perfectly up in the hand. Like, you don't want it to be like just straightforward, or actually that's a little back, but you don't want it to just be straightforward in line with the hand. It's a lot easier to handle melee weapons if they're angled slightly forward. It's called a handshake grip. Um, it's very helpful, and I recommend doing it any chance you get when it comes to melee weapons. I used to not do it, and it made melee combat suck. And then you just, do the same for the holster, like on a knife go in this pouch here because I don't have a sheath on this model, um, etc. etc. Uh, then for the screen effects, you're gonna want to just find the other head bone. It can be in a giant list, but you can narrow it down to whatever the name of your head bone is, and then do the same for the night vision, and then cool, and then do the same for the magazines. As you'll probably quickly become aware, this can be a very tedious process at times, but with practice you get pretty quick with it. And like I am, if I wanted to completely reuse an avatar systems, I would basically be able to set up an avatar with pretty consistent quality weapons in 30 minutes or less. I've done it before, ironically, with the Stormwalker Marine. I completed in about 2 hours just cuz. And granted, you shouldn't be rushing your work. And it was kind of rushed. It had some mesh issues and stuff, but otherwise, like, if you get really good at this, you can slap West. Oh, I forgot to do the pistol. God damn. The holster point for the pistol. I am really slacking on this, aren't I? But yeah, just like you just move it all over, get it nice and set up. All of the constraint targets, double, quintuple, uh, quadruple. Wait, those are different numbers, but still check as many times as you need to ensure that it all works. Same with, do not forget the aim constraint like I just did, because then it means that when you try to grab the weapon in VR with the two-handing, it will be aiming way off from where your actual hand is. So you want to like reset it and then just kind of move it. Generally, the spot I go is right here in between the index and middle finger, on the palm of the hand, and then you're pretty much set. I deleted the flashlight there because this avatar doesn't have the flashlight. Now, um, the tedious part is over. The second tedious part begins, and it's actually really simple. AV3 Manager. I will also have a link to it in the description. I believe you can access it under tool. Wait, where the fuck is it? Oh, VR Labs Avatars 3.0 Manager. I'll open up this menu here. It'll probably be out in the middle like this. I like to grab it and dock it next to the inspector so it's easily accessible. You want to grab Gary here, your avatar, and drag it into the top so it's reading the avatar descriptor. Then you're going to want to go under this FX tab. Um, and the FX tab uh, is controls for merging, the FX layers here. So specifically just to grab the weapons, I'm not actually going to merge the entire Stormwalker grunt layer. I'm actually going to Control C and copy it, make a temporary one by pasting Control V in the animations folder for the new avatar here, Gary Gray Kit, and then I'm going to open it up in the animator view. I'm going to delete the redundant things like the HUD and stuff, the things that I don't actually need to merge. You just use the delete key, and then do the same for the parameters. Default parameters like is local and the gesture parameters will be the same, but if you have multiple of these parameters on one avatar, it can very much mess it up, because then AV3 Manager will try to make duplicate parameters when you merge it, and so you'll have weapons equipped like 0 or something Like, can I duplicate this like this? I can't. Well, it'll be like weapons equip 0, and then it'll mess up all the transitions in the menus and stuff, and you're going to have to account for that. But here on this modified Stormwalker Grunt, I've gotten rid of everything I do not need. So I can go back, click animator, or add controller to merge, drag in your temporary strip down animator. It'll tell you that these ones are default, but it'll be fine. Um, uh, this parameter is already used in another layer, is just telling me that like the gesture layer, which again I neglected to set up correctly for this tutorial, is already has the weapons equip parameter. Um, this isn't really to be concerned about because we're not messing with the gesture layer. But again, this is an example of like if you already have parameters, it's going to try and make duplicate parameters if it was already in this controller. It's not in the FX layer, it's in the gesture layer, so it should hypothetically be fine. We're about to find out, I guess. And you can just merge on copy if you want to be safe. I play things on the edge and I merge on current. And you click that and it'll go and take all of the layers from the Stormwalker Grunt and put them on Gary Gray Kit. Now the empty base layer, you need to my understanding, you need to have an empty base layer just as your first thing. But having a second one like this, you don't really need to keep, so you can just delete it. And then double check everything, make sure everything's been moved over and such. If you can like quickly delete this guy, see if any of them are missing. This one is, but it's not really essential. And that should generally cover it. Say for now, you're going to want to set up your menus. I need to delete this settings menu because I also neglected to do it. Your temporary FX layer you can also delete once you're done with it. Though generally speaking, I like to keep a few copies, like for instance with like the weapon prefab demo. So it's just really easy to just like, I want guns on this guy, transfer the animations of this entire loadout with rifle, pistol, melee, and then you're set up. Now, your menu here, I've only got a toggle for the night vision, and that's a problem because that means if I open play mode, I hope that wasn't too loud. And this one is switching off the mic. If I open play mode and get the gesture manager emulator, which I can also link in the description or a pinned comment or something. This is very helpful for actually testing your avatars without having to get in VR. I'll only have Go Loco, which installed with VRC Fury, and the night vision, which seems to be facing the wrong direction because difference in rig. Oops. I can't actually access the guns, so what you can do is you can either make your own menu or just take the menu from the avatar you were setting up, both of these, and just select them both, copy them, paste them, and add submenu. This is also a different UI, so apologies that so much of this stuff looks different. I'm doing this straight from my workflow, straight from how I set up things. Again, I can send links to all of this for you guys to install it yourselves. There's a lot of quality of life shit in like this, the alternate hierarchy, and like the forgot the name of the expression menu controller thing. I'll go look at it after. But you set it to submenu, name it settings. Give it a funky icon like I have settings folder. Boom, and then drag in your duplicated menu. And then like for organizational sake, you want to probably name it like Gary Gray Kit, or name it whatever the avatar is. And then you can also do the same for the weapons menu or whatever else. You can also use this thing that I found to rename them in bulk. Not gonna do that because I already renamed them manually, but you know. So you have your settings, then make another submenu, weapons, um, and then like weapons, oh, caps lock, weapons, perfect, and then name it. There you go. And then if we build it, hypothetically, it should work. So we got our settings, can toggle reloads, show or hide the weapons, two-handing, blah blah blah. I ported over the HUD, but not all the avatars are going to have the HUD. A lot of this is going to be particular use case stuff, so remember to like quintuple check, um, you know, when you're doing things. But yeah, I should be able to equip the knife. Not ideal placement with the gestures, but like, hey, it works enough. Grab your splock. ICR9. And yeah, it should work identically as the other avatar. Then when it comes to setting up this on Quest, I recommend checking out the Replace and Keep Overrides tutorial. To give a short brief on it, you can use this menu prefab, replace, or prefab, replace and keep overrides, and then search up the like same gun that you have here, but then add like QST, and it should pull up the Quest version of the gun, then just rename it to the same thing that it was before. So like in this case, it says rifle here on the original. I duplicated this for demonstration, but you shouldn't duplicate it normally. And just name it the same thing and it'll work the same. Trying to think if I need to cover anything else. I don't think so. Rushed and Lazy trademark, but hey, it works. There's a lot of things you might need to learn through trial by fire just by default. I will try and get around to making something a lot more structured, probably something edited at a later time. I think I opened with that, but this should function if you generally follow the steps I laid out here. Yep, it ain't perfect, but I hope this was able to shed some light on methods to make it easier to actually put weapon prefabs from my uh, modular but not exactly drag and drop sort of system. Uh, have a good evening.